Hello friends, welcome back to another video. So I am currently dog sitting slash cat sitting slash house sitting for my parents while they are on vacation. I haven't had a lot of time for reading. I am finally gonna have a couple of days where I just sit and read, and I think this video might be a lot of time lapses of me reading. I have one that I was attempting to finish when I was on my girls trip, but being in the car for 7 hours, I don't know, you would think it would be easy to read, but I was also trying to like talk with my cousins, and then like the radio would be on sometimes, and so anyway, I was not like really concentrating on that one very well. But that's The Employees by Olga Ravn. I'm almost done with it. I'm on page like 94 of 125 or something like that, so I'm almost done. And then I brought Permafrost with me as well. Eva Baltazar, I believe that's the author. I read Boulder and was obsessed, along with many other people. I loved it so much I realized that it was actually part of my book club, the Unseen Review, that I'm a part of. It's not my book club, but somebody was raving about Boulder, and anyway, I was looking on Storygraph and it's a part of a series, like a loose series, and I think Boulder is actually number 2. It is golden hour, the sun has just set, so I'm just enjoying all of the trees and the sun. It was pretty hot today. I should have swam. I might swim tomorrow because they do have a pool that's looking quite nice, to be honest. I recently got a haircut and I feel like it just looks, I don't know. It needs to be styled, I think, for it to look cute. Anyway, update on The Employees. I have finished it. It's been at least an hour, maybe more. It's such a skinny little book, but I feel like I have a lot of thoughts, and it's always hard for me. It's never a good idea to pick up the camera right after you finish a book because like you never have like metabolized all of your thoughts. It's good, not great. I think that it's one of those books that it's so short that it kind of leaves you with so many questions, and so it kind of leaves you with sort of an unsatisfied feeling. It's interesting. I love a sci-fi, and I love a sci-fi that's kind of a soft sci-fi, meaning it doesn't go into any of the technology behind this ship and how it works and all of that. It's straight up just about the dynamic between the characters. It's just in a very realistic, or like a futuristic setting. Honestly, it really does pose a lot of interesting questions and concepts around the future, the potentially near future. It does have to do with, you know, humanoid robots and humans, you know, being in the same place and interacting with one another. And we do end up finding out on, it's pretty late in the game, honestly, 112, statement 175, because it's basically a whole bunch of vignettes. So each page is a statement from one of the employees, and the thing is that you don't really know if it's a humanoid or a human making the statement, and so that's also really interesting. Like maybe we don't need to know, maybe it's not necessarily important. I think that's part of what the author is doing that's really clever, is that you don't know always if it's a human or humanoid. Sometimes you do, but not always. You find out something on page 112, and there's only 125 pages in the book that kind of let you know why things are spiraling, because things are not in a good place. I don't know, it's like It just says, you know, the crew becomes deeply attached to these like strange objects that seem to have some sort of like intense emotional sway over them. I don't know, like the plot is literally just that there is no plot. It's just the humans and humanoids interacting with each other and these strange objects. And we don't really get any resolution about the objects. I think it's one of those books where it's really just supposed to make you think about the future and AI and advanced technology, and it's just supposed to be thought-provoking. It's not even necessarily supposed to be entertaining, although I was entertained. So I think I need to dive into Storygraph and see what people are saying. Okay, I love this one. They gave it 5 stars. They said, I have nothing to say. I have too much to say. I feel like that is how I feel. I'm like, what do I even say about it? I could write an essay if I absolutely had to, like if I was still in college, like, you know, working towards my English degree. If this was assigned to us, I for sure could pull some stuff out of it. A couple of people have been comparing it to Vandermeer just because of how kind of weird the objects are, and they feel kind of sentient, but you know, we're not really sure. I think I'm just gonna leave my thoughts there, and then hopefully in my August review, I will have metabolized some of my thoughts a little bit more. So let's put this down and move on to Permafrost. Hello again, friends. So I am maybe about halfway through. Anyway, we're back home now. I will say I'm not as in love with it as Boulder. Boulder is just a little bit like tighter. I think there's something about the writing, not just the writing, but the plot as well, that moves very, very quickly in Boulder. So it's 122 pages, a little bit longer than Boulder. And it follows a different woman. I don't think that I mentioned like specifically how they're related, like how all 3 books are related. It's supposed to be like a triptych, so it's not a series specifically. I can't remember if I gave you like a summary of the book yet. The thing that makes this one a little bit different, because honestly the narrators do feel quite similar. This one describes Permafrost's narrator as a no bullshit lesbian, and she is an uninhibited lover and a wickedly funny observer of modern life. Boulder is honestly very similar. You could say that about the female main character, and she's working as an au pair in Scotland. Very briefly, that part of the book is actually already over. But this one it's like the pacing isn't quite as quick, and I feel like not as much has happened, and I'm gonna see how quickly I can power through the rest of it. All right, friends, it's the next day. I'm gonna go read outside. Yesterday was a little bit of a wash because we actually had to rush the cat to the vet. He had a fever, he'd been really lethargic. Anyway, long story short, I haven't finished my book yet. All right, friends, another one finished. I am just waiting on a call from the vet, reading in the meantime to try to distract myself. Permafrost. I have officially completed Permafrost. This is number 1 of the triptych of the 3 that Baltazar wrote within the last like 5 years. This one came out in 2021. I kind of want to go ahead and start on Mammoth, which is like the 3rd and final one. So Boulder was number 2, and then I don't honestly think you have to read them in any particular order. That's just the order in which they were published. And then this is Mammoth, which is the 3rd one and came out, I think, last year, 2024. They're all basically young, disenchanted lesbian narrators, but they're different women, like in different kind of places in time, I think. I don't quite know that I loved Permafrost as much as Boulder. Boulder is just so tight. It's a little bit shorter, not by much, honestly, but you can tell, I mean, barely. This one is just, I feel like Baltazar kind of like honed her craft a tiny bit better, or maybe I just liked the pacing of this a little bit more. It moves a lot faster than Permafrost. We cover 8 years in a very brief period of pages. It's only like 105 pages of this one. Same themes, honestly, very similar vibe. We have a young lesbian narrator kind of discovering who she is, a lot about desire in here, particularly the desire to not have children. That's kind of the main theme in Boulder. I think it even mentions it on the back somewhere in the blurb. I will say this one is very there's a lot of suicidal ideation in here. There's at least 3 different times where she really deeply thinks about, our main character really deeply thinks about unaliving herself. So maybe read the trigger warnings. Also, Baltazar does talk about sex very crudely. So if that's something that like offends you, you might want to skip them. It's not a lot of plot. There is trigger warning for like a child who's in the hospital. So like a child being ill. Kudos to the translator as well, Julia Sanchez. It looks like she has translated all of them. And I read her translator's note in the back. There's an afterword, and she talks about how she really tried to keep the musicality of the language. And because Baltazar is first and foremost a poet, said her one stipulation when these were translated and edited was that Sanchez try to keep the same beats. If a word is stressed, keep it stressed. If a word is unstressed in the original Catalan, keep it unstressed in English. So it was a very specific musical approach that's how kind of she describes it, kind of a musical approach to the translation, which I thought was very interesting. Now that I've read a lot more translated work because of this Reading Around the World challenge that I'm doing, I think I'm like 47 or 48 books in so far, so I still have a ways to go. I'm appreciating translators and what they do more and more because it's just so incredible. There's a lot about the body in here. I love a book that is from the female perspective and the body is talked about in a very open way. And we're not, you know, tiptoeing around certain words or around certain areas of the body. There's maybe, you know, even a little bit of like body horror. There's no, like there's not a lot of dignity around the body. It can be like equal parts beautiful and grotesque all at the same time. And I love the dichotomy of that. I'm just obsessed. And so it's so refreshing. It's just so open and not weird or like sexualized. We're not quite done with this video yet. I do have a little bit left of an audiobook that I'm listening to that I could give you guys a very kind of brief little summary of. The Glow. To be honest, I haven't been super obsessed with it. Got a 4.8 here on Spotify, but that's way too high. It's been really interesting it hasn't really been really interesting though, has it? It's one of those books that's very much Nine Perfect Strangers vibes. And it's about a young PR manager. And she's in a lot of medical debt. And she basically thinks she's gonna be able to save her career with the help of this like sort of cult leader, like wellness cult leader in this sort of grungy retreat that she has enmeshed herself into and invited herself to kind of try to make like a self-care brand out of this wellness retreat, even though the actual woman herself isn't interested in it, if that makes any sense. But I am in the middle of listening to it and I think I'm coming up near the end. Like I think I have only an hour or two left, something like that. It always sucks when you really don't like a book, but then you also want to be an author and you understand how much time and effort goes into writing a book. So it's really hard to talk books when you are a writer yourself. But I have to talk about The Glow very briefly. Do not recommend, unfortunately. It has a 3.2, I think, on Storygraph, which isn't the lowest, isn't the highest. It's kind of a meh sort of rating. No, this is a no. Just read Nine Perfect Strangers or Natural Beauty, something of that nature instead. I love this sort of very niche subgenre of books that there's been quite a few. It's been popular for a little while. Youth Juice was another one that I read recently where the main character is somehow involved in the beauty industry, makeup, skincare, high-end luxury beauty. And then they discover a sort of seedy underbelly to, you know, an ingredient that's in the product or how the skincare or the makeup is made. And it's obviously like commentary on way society, you know, pressures women to feel a certain way, but it's also like very toxic and very harmful and very predatory. I originally saw The Glow as a hardcover book. I assume maybe it had just come out at my local bookstore downtown. And I had it in my hand during my birthday book haul. So this was December last year. And I was like this close to getting it. And I'm really glad that I put it down. The narrator does a good job. It's just not a good story. I feel like not a lot happens. Jane, our main character, is trying to create this sort of wellness brand by kind of manipulating, honestly, this woman who seems to have very good intentions. She's sort of this kind of hippie, homeopathic, Nicole Kidman in Nine Perfect Strangers-esque type of woman. And yeah, basically Jane is very manipulative. She doesn't really care like who gets in her way or how she has to accomplish this. A situation where you have a main character who's just not great. There's not a lot of redeeming qualities about her. I don't think her heart's in the right place. It was genuinely like she knew that she was kind of like morally compromised and she had willingly put herself into a morally compromising situation, but she just didn't really care. Just very two-faced. And I did not like her as a main character whatsoever. And I kept thinking to myself, if this was a male character, would I just sort of see him as like, you know, a sort of a business bro getting things done? Is it different because she's trying to be like a girl boss? But I honestly don't think so. So if you guys have read The Glow, let me know, because I was not particularly impressed. So you guys let me know what you're reading for sort of end of summer now. I mean, we're kind of coming up to September soon, and then I'll start getting into my more fall books. So I need to squeeze in a few more summary ones. I really want to read Immaculate Conception by Leiling Huang. I will see you guys in August, end of August, for a combined July and August wrap up. So I will see you then. Thank you for watching. Bye.